It always comes to this. More nice. Hello there guys, here to do another tattoo progress update today. Where I last left off, I had showed off the first and second rose tattoos, fresh and healed, the last couple videos. And I showed off my last session with Rick, which was the other side of the eyes filling in and the mandibles over here and some more color in the brain. He wasn't sure whether we'd need another session on that or not for color, because he wants to use some of the black as some of the color in there, like as a shade. But we just wanted to see how it healed out. You can always go back in later. So it's all healed now. It's fully peeled. It's a little dry. I make these vlogs at the end of my workday normally, so I haven't lotioned this since the morning, but came out pretty good. So yeah, the pink really stands, the pink and red combo. Seems like the reds, pinks, and golds work the best. The blues and the greens do work too. Some people have asked me if the greens are really showing up or yellows are really showing up or anything like that. You can tell that they're there. They're just not as like vibrant as the reds. Once we have the negative space filled in with another color or another shade, the green will stand out more. It's just where it's comparable to the background. The green and the blue is comparable to the background, where the red and yellow isn't. It blends in a little more with the scenery. So in other words, the more elements you put in there, the more it will stand out. Same as the red we did here. But I don't want to yammer on too much about that. That will be proven. Those are all just things that I'll have to prove and demonstrate through my work over the next couple of years. Obviously, I'm sure people are already staring at it. This is in daylight, and as we know, I don't edit these videos. My bicep is, I think, quite remarkable. I think this is one of the most stunning applications we've done yet of any color or white or black on black. This obviously being the combination of black and white on black working together in perfect tandem. The black, again, bouncing the white off of the black, keeps this from, you know, washing out. A lot of times people will do just white. It's not actually often that I hear about people just doing black on black. I see it sometimes, but what I really see lots of is people doing like line work, geometric or mandalas, or like line style floral pieces in white, and then the lines get quite dark very quickly, or they're not very crispy very quickly. This is how you do white on black, in my opinion. As they're doing tons of it, I think I'm a pretty good judge of what will and won't work, as I've had a little of both. This is fully peeled now. It's a little dry, so when things are a little dry, they don't look as good as they could. Bear that in mind. My ditch rose is already fully healed as well. I actually thought that we were going to get some blurring in the ditch itself, maybe some blowouts in the line work, but we didn't. So that's healed. Now that's not going to change much, same as these. So as you're seeing this, like again, I'm in here with my front-facing phone camera with a ring light. That's all I'm working with right now. So there's no hyper editing going on. What you see is what you get. I've been very forthcoming about that. I'll get into the session. Sorry, I'm a little stoked with this piece. I was really excited to do my outer bicep, both of them. I'm really excited to do the other one too. I have a really great idea for my other bicep I've had for years. We actually came up with the idea for my left bicep right as we started the tentacle torso, all the monster stuff that we're doing on my torso. We've had that idea in the bank for a while now. It's been about 2 years. So But anyway, I'll get to that another time. We did about 5 hours on this. It was a long day. It was a pretty easy session. I was pretty tired at the end of it though. More than painful, I was like kind of worn out. You know, I've got varying degrees of scar tissue in most of my work. Not getting too much new scar tissue, believe it or not, but I have some existing scar tissue from mostly my first layers and some of the blackout. I didn't get overworked that bad or dug up that bad during the blackout portion of the tattoos that I've done, but the first layer of tattoos caused a fairly obscene amount of scarring in certain places, not the least of which was my right outer bicep. Now, for people who have watched my channel for a while, you probably noticed a time or two that there was a little line work scarring in my arm. I don't know how close people have watched, but I went over that guy probably 10 times. No kidding. Whenever we worked on my arm, I had that thing like covered again. It was always like the artist Rick or Lee would always be, yeah, I could probably cover that. I could probably mask it. Just need to black enough it can blend in. But the scarring was so thick that you could always see the outline of that tattoo no matter what I did. I only have a few scars on me like that, and a lot of them you can't see anymore because I've covered them with new images over the black. So for example, when you just black out a big body, because it's just one solid color or one solid shade, you're still going to see the lines and the marks and all of that. It's not going to make those scars vanish. But the minute you put a decoration on that or a design over it, you won't see it anymore. So I also at one point had a ring, like it was like a key ring kind of hoop on my throat, and it was all scarred in. Like you could see the indentation, even when it was blacked out 3 times. It was harder to see after the last time we blacked it out, thank goodness, because my throat was getting a little tired of being blacked out, but it was still there. So now you can't see it anymore because what was better than just blacking it out repeatedly was putting a design over it to mask it. So we've done the same thing now with this. When I look real close, I can still see, even while this is fresh, I can still see the scar tissue in there because it was so deep. But you'll never see it anymore because, as we already know, this ain't gonna go away overnight. Sorry to let down any of the skeptics here, but I think this year is the year that's gonna change. Last year, I feel like we made some great strides. We made some great progress on many projects, and really got our legs beneath us. And this year we're running. So the first year, 2020, when we were 2021, when we were working on all this, I guess we started the first part of it in 2020. At the very end, we did the moon and the rose and some little filigree designs on my back. But for that whole year of 2021, we just spent just figuring this shit out. And then 2022 was a process of ramping things up. And now it's like full send. We're ready. I'm happy I went slow at first because I don't think I would have made some of the same choices I'm making now had I not. And it's a good thing that I had left my sleeves until I knew exactly what would work the best, because my other sleeve is going to be big and bold as well. It's not going to be more roses. I'm sure some people are getting sick of the roses as it is, but whatever. This one came out really cool. This is now one of my favorite tattoos I've ever had, by the way. Even though it's just a rose, it kind of looks like armor. It's going to be even better when we get it surrounded in this red velvet, because that's what we're going to do. We got some more layout to do this week. We're going to be, or next week, we're going to be doing thorns as background in between the roses now that we've got them all there. So we're only doing 3. We already have the one on my hand. So we're going to do thorns in between all of them. And then we're going to do red backdrop, red velvet backdrop built off of my clavicles down my arm. So all of that's going to be happening over the next few weeks. I'm going to be starting in on the red within 2 weeks time. So this sleeve should be done other than second passes of white for greater contrast. Now again, I don't need to do a second pass of white so that it will be there. You do a second pass of white to increase the contrast. Same as what I did here, here, here. These were all there still, very clearly. You can go back and look, but I wanted them brighter. So you don't need to do the black twice, but you'll need to do the white twice, because believe it or not, the black stands up better than the white does on its own merits. So anyway, 4.5, 5 hour session, not super painful. As I started to talk about, I have tons of scar tissue in my upper biceps, probably both sides. And honest to God, I have very little sensation in this outer bicep. It was odd. It felt like I had like numbing cream on or something, because this lower part of my arm, there was pain of some kind. It wasn't severe, because arm tattoos aren't. But up here, it was like I was wearing a shell. None of that pain was really registering. I felt vibration and nothing more. So lots of people are wondering if it's more and more painful as you go over tissue you've already covered. It really does depend. I think it depends a lot on how you were covered, whether you were scarred up or not. And even sometimes scar hurts more to go over, and sometimes it hurts less. For example, when we go over my knuckles, that hurts like hell, but I had infection there. So it went pretty deep. Yeah, so I've got another appointment coming up on Monday. I'm going to be targeting the lower portion of this. Super happy with how this healed up. The eyes look pretty well identical side to side. The mandibles look almost identical side to side. The brain is coming along. If you'll notice, Terry did Rick a bit of a favor here. We built black around this guy, so it's actually framed this piece, which actually popped it forward a bit. And Terry was a little shy to get up in there and be right next to Rick's work, because he didn't want to cross any lines or piss Rick off. And Rick says to him, he goes, "We're working on this project together, man. Get up in there. It needs to flow." So that was my idea to begin with, was to make sure everything was connected. But Rick was more than cool with it too. So yeah, we're gonna build this all in together. It's gonna be very connected, and I'm just gonna keep going with this two body theme. People were for a long time wondering how the roses were gonna build into all this. Well, they do build in, but they're not the same subject matter, and they're not the same style. I'm gonna have two different themes. Again, I've said this before on here in reference to this, but I like tattoos too much and too many different types of tattoos to just have one theme. I think two is fine. So I think, and I've got two very different artists working on this, so I've already got my face done in a similar way. And I really think that this arm is going to be kind of the showpiece of my work. I feel like this is going to be something I can show to people who don't even like tattoos, and this is a good sell for work over black that will hold up. I've already got proof will stay. And yeah, I'm really loving how it works. So again, this is one of my favorite tattoos I've ever had. For reference though, I like this chest piece a lot too. This is also probably one of my favorite pieces I've ever had, and we're not even done it yet. So by the time this is developed, I think that I'll like the outer bicep and the chest both as some of my favorite tattoos I've had, and I've had a lot. So it's novel. The concept of still having new favorite tattoos this far into the game is novel and not lost on me. Anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go. I'll talk to you again soon.